Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Broadcasting live from North Nashville, Tennessee. North Nashville spans from Metro Center down to the border of Bicentennial Mall, including the neighborhoods of Bordeaux, Buena Vista, Parkwood Estates, Germantown, Haynes Manor, Jefferson Street, Fisk Park, Cumberland Gardens, Oak Valley, Enchanted Hill, and many others. It's perhaps best known for the 3 universities housed here, including Tennessee State University, College. North Nashville is also home to the Tennessee Titans practice facility. The Tennessee Titans will begin construction on an expansion project at St. Thomas Sports Park, which will almost double its current footprint in Nashville's Metro Center neighborhood. The plan includes 60,000 square feet in additions, including a new building situated along one of the practice fields, and major renovation of spaces within the existing 75,000 square foot building.
Now live from North Nashville, Dr. William Head. Let's talk about it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we get a do-over. You got more for your money today. Welcome to Let's Talk About It, coming to you from beautiful North Nashville, Tennessee. I have some very sober things that I need to do. I am greatly saddened to report that my niece, my closest relative, passed away yesterday afternoon around 5:30 at Vanderbilt Hospital, Wilson County. A very dear and near and dear and loving and loved individual. I am disheartened and sad for her daughter, Monica Al-Hanafi. Mr. Hanafi is a new addition to the family, and I hope I didn't mess up his name too bad for him to be angry at me. Monica Al-Hanafi is the daughter of my niece who passed away yesterday. We are terribly and terribly shaken by her death and hollowness and a cavern of disbelief exist. I asked your prayer for my family, those of us who are in a very small number, but we ask for your prayers and nothing else. My niece decided that she did not want to have a funeral or a memorial service, so this is the only memorial service that she will have, with my speaking about her online. And if you believe it, the internet will go on, and whatever is on the internet will remain there forever, whatever ever becomes. So we appreciate your prayers and good thoughts, and that's all we can ask for. It's a tough time for all of us. A quote from the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, 43rd verse. If the owner of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Stay awake, ladies and gentlemen. The midterm elections were very refreshing in that many of the radical proponents of Trumpism were defeated. some of them just trounced. And it marks a new historic norm for midterm elections. Usually sitting presidents lose both houses of Congress during the midterm. The Democrats lost the House of Representatives, but by a very small margin, which means that the Republican terrorists don't necessarily have the power to pass all of the junk legislation that they want to pass. The first order of business is to impeach the sitting president. This is going to be a really revengeful type situation, and it's going to be like Washington has been the last 15, 20 years. Nothing gets done of any substance for the citizenry. The legislators get rich, and we get what they leave. Now, if you can think about what's left, stay awake, because a lot of these hawks, these reinvent themselves and present themselves in a much less threatening manner to gain your confidence. Remember who they are. Keep a check mark right beside their name and a picture so you remember who they are. Don't forget the people who want to take away your vote. Folks who want to be able to say, well, we're not going to accept this, which means the people have no voice. So if you are interested in keeping your voice as a citizen of the USA, you need to make sure you're diligent in who you vote for, and vote for folks who are trying to make sure the democracy survives, not somebody who's trying to turn us into Russia. With that said, if you don't believe me, ask the people in Pennsylvania and Arizona who are now still trying to finish up an election that was, 10 days ago? It's real. The danger is real. It continues. Don't go to sleep. Stay awake. Or as the Republicans like to say, you folks, you woke folks, stay woke. Remain diligent. Vote in your best interest here on out for a long, long time, long after I'm gone. In the NFL, Deshaun Watson is scheduled to take his first snap from center Sunday as the Cleveland Browns go down to Houston, the place where he was when all of this controversy started, and play the Houston team with the Browns team. I wish him all the luck in the world. Notwithstanding the stupidness that they say has occurred that ended up in his being sued by 29 different female massage therapists. I was looking at a Channel 4 special last night, and there's a local massage therapist, male, who has been accused of 29 different rapes, or sexual assaults. So I don't think that's one man doing 29 different women, or 29 different people. I don't think all of them were women. But that does not excuse Deshaun if he is guilty of what he did. However, I have my own conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory has to do with the Houston team attempting to drag Deshaun through the mud after he decided that he wanted to get out of Houston. And and had 29 different women to accuse him of sexual misconduct, for which none rose to the level of a criminal act, according to the grand jury in Houston. But he still has to pay off all these ladies. The Houston team, of course, paid off a lawsuit that each one of them brought against the team, thereby making sure they got paid for what they did. Now, that's complete theory. There's nothing to support it. So I'm not accusing them. I'm just telling them what I think. The murders of 4 University of Idaho students is still a mystery. I think it was 10 days to 2 weeks ago that they were killed in their apartment. There were 6 youngsters in the apartment, and 4 of them were killed. 2 who lived on the ground floor of the apartment escaped the murderous rage of whoever did it. The Utah police have not found anyone to put put forth a lot of effort in pursuing. The next door neighbor of the young ladies was accused, and he has offered to take a lie detector test to prove that he is not the guy. So it remains up in the air. My prayers and sympathies go out to the murdered youngsters' families, to the city in which the University of Idaho resides, and all the youngsters on that college campus who feel threatened by the acts of one or more persons. It is hope that they will solve that in short order. Auburn University has hired Mr. Hugh Freeze as their head football coach. Anyone that's contemplating your son going to the Auburn University campus to play football, I would advise you to do a search of Mr. Freeze's exploits over the last 8-10 years. You may not want to send your son there. It's just a thought. Not going to say anything wrong with Mr. Freeze, but he's been accused of a lot of things. I would say you need to look before you leap. As soon as your son becomes a part of the Auburn family, Mr. Freeze becomes a part of yours. So this is a marriage that you may want to look into. The shooting at the club in Colorado, the suspect has been captured and charged with I think 5 individuals that he killed. The irony in it for me is that the young man was a regular at the club himself. And suddenly he became outraged at something and just went in and started firing an AR-15. Oh, AR-15. That sounds familiar. It sounds like the weapon of choice. And the Republicans won't allow any legislation that will outlaw the sale of the AR-15 in this country. That sounds real dumb, doesn't it? How do you keep saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people? Well, the logical thing is people with guns kill people. And people who are not mentally prepared to carry a weapon, much less have ammunition to shoot a weapon, doesn't make any sense to me at all. And all these states, not all states, but some states have outlawed the AR-15. I think it should be outlawed all over this country. It is too prevalent in too many different attacks on people walking in Walmart. The Walmart shooting was an employee who came in and shot up the break room, then shot himself. There was definitely some injury or disrespect going on in that particular group. You know how groups can get, where there is an in crowd and others are simply tolerated or excommunicated from the group. But awful things, and every time I hear of a shooting, I just, if you're wondering what that is, that's our guest dog. It's disheartening to me to keep hearing of people indiscriminately walking into a setting and just start shooting. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. The murder of the 3 University of Virginia students who happen to be part of the athletic program at the University of Virginia has been solved. The young man that did it was part of the group on the bus who left the bus, got off the bus, went to his car, got a pistol, and came back and started shooting. Some of the students said that they didn't understand why he did that because they had not spoken to this young man the entire trip from the school to Washington, D.C. is about an hour's trip, and back is another hour. And at the play in between, they said that they never said anything to him. Well, that may have been the trigger. He was pushed out of the group unwillingly, and the other youngsters were condescending to him, not saying he was right in shooting up the place, but we've got to watch how our children respond. We've got to teach our children better ways to respond to life than taking a life, because they cannot give that life back, even if they wanted to. And the moment it takes to pull a trigger on a gun is just too minuscule to talk about. And it's mad, and I start shooting. I'm sorry. Nothing you can do. You cannot recall a bullet. And a bullet does not have a message for any particular person. Please, we've got to stop this violence some kind of way. If the federal government, if the people at the legislative level in this country will not take action, some action is needed. In the street, people. In the street, you got to get out and march like the kids did in 2020. What was that? 2019. Great year. Reminded me of the 50s, 60s, and 70s when people stayed in the street protesting. Let's do that again. Let's get back in the street and protest the fact that federal government will not outlaw a weapon that nobody does anything with except kill people. The Miss Green from Georgia says that was her favorite weapon for hunting. Another lady wisely sent her a text that says, well, what do you do with the rabbit ears that are left when the rabbit is shot? Because that's all that's left, his ears. AK-47, AS-15s, whatever, have no possible use in peacetime among civilians. They're military-grade weapons whose only use is to kill people. People kill people with guns that they have no certification and no qualification to have as the state of Tennessee. With that, I'll introduce my good friend, Dr. Doc Abebe. Doc, how are you?
Good, how are you, Mr. Head?
Oh, just fine. Doc, Doc, you tell us about Doc.
Dr. Abebe is, I'm a pharmacist. Probably most of your audience know me by person because I'm the pharmacy manager at Walgreens in Bordeaux, right at the corner of Buena Vista and Garfield Highway. And I really enjoy talking to you. The first day I saw you at the Y, and you approached me and started talking to me. Ever since that day, I really enjoy talking to you. And when you mentioned that you have a YouTube channel that I'm going to be on, I said, okay, it's my time, I think, to speak about what I think about my own people. And thank you for that.
Doc, you are the manager of the pharmacy at the Walgreens in North Nashville, the one closest to, for me, is where I get all my prescriptions filled. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your journey to becoming a pharmacist.
So originally I'm from Ethiopia. So I moved to the States about 16 years ago. And I studied my undergrad back in Denver, University of Colorado. And for pharmacy school, I moved to Memphis, University of Tennessee. And I did another 4 years of pharmacy program and graduated 2014, about 8-9 years ago. And ever since then, I started working for Walgreens.
Walgreens.
So this particular place, I've been for now 3 years, exactly 3 years.
I've worked in several different locations, and Walgreens has always been a great place to go and get information, especially when I'm running short on my blood pressure medicine. Being an old man, I'm stuck with that. Go ahead.
That's what we're here for.
Right. we talked the other day, and you are an advocate for a purposeful lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. Tell us more about your approach to a healthy lifestyle.
It really boils down to my upbringing. So I have a personal story that I would like to share.
Go right ahead.
So when I came from Ethiopia about 15 years ago, I used to weigh about 235 pounds. And I have zero knowledge about, keeping up with weight, regular physical exercise, what kind of food I eat, what kind of food I should avoid. And one time I had this stomach bug, really bothered me. A lot of nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Then I went to the local hospital to find out what's going on, because I couldn't keep up anything. And it was the ER in the doctor, they took my blood work and everything, and they waited probably, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. And she came back with the doctor came back with a prescription. And I thought they were going to give me some medication for my stomach virus, but they say that's self-limiting. It should go away by itself in 2-3 days. But we have another surprise for you. You have diabetes and hypertension, which is high blood pressure. And here is a prescription. Just go to the local pharmacy and get your medication. Back then I was 29 years old. And but the doctor mentioned that if you can manage to lose about 20 pounds, you may probably make a big difference. I still remember that, phone when she said that. But I didn't know how to do that, how to stay in shape, how to lose weight, how to exercise. Because I came from a society where people don't have a lot of knowledge about, about our medical condition. So I went back home and get that prescription, went to the local pharmacy, picked up my medication, and I was, should I take this medication or should I not take this? Then I used to stay with my aunt, and I spoke to my aunt. And I went to the hospital, they gave me this medication. What do you think, should I take them or not? And she said, no, you're not going to take this medication. You are just 20 years old. And then she took me to the local fitness center. It's back in Denver. And I went there and looked all the machine and trained me and everything. I have no clue how to do that. And I spoke to one of the people from there, and they hooked me up with a personal trainer. So about 6 hours, he trained me on the machine, how the machine works, and at the same time, for 30 minutes workout, and 30 minutes we would sit down on the computer and go over the nutrition, what kind of food should I eat and what kind of food should I not eat. And I did for 6 hours with my personal trainer. And when I get to 6 hours, I just got it. Okay, I don't think I have to pay anymore. I have the basic understanding. I'm going to have to research in detail. And it was, I think, 2008 or 9, I think 9, summer. I didn't have school because I was off for summer. I was just working for that summer. So I have time, every time when I come back from work, in the evening, I have time to go on the research, and educate myself. And I did that, looking at the nutrition and everything, I started losing weight. 5 pounds drop, 10 pounds drop, 20 pounds drop, 30 pounds drop. And my weight size was, I remember, 43. And maybe like 10 months later, my weight size became 34. So about 10 inches down. And then I got accepted into pharmacy school, 2010. And when I got into second year, I think, when I really understood the medical condition, diabetes, high blood pressure, I just want to find out my numbers, why that doctor wrote me that prescription. Then I reached out to the hospital in Denver. They send me the mail, all my medical research, and they go over all the numbers. And almost all my numbers were to the roof. And so that was my wake-up call. And so I have a belief that if I can do it, with zero, any kind of zero medical zero resource, but I only have the ambition to get it under control. I think anybody can do it. So that's what I want to talk about today.
Yep. Keep going, Doc.
Okay. So, here is the thing. what is it? I witnessed firsthand that people much at a younger age. For me, 45 years is younger age. 15 years is younger age. Taking medication for high blood pressure, or for high blood sugar, or for high cholesterol. So, for me, that should be the second step. The first step probably will be, have we done our part? I believe that human body is just like a car. When you buy a brand new car, it doesn't need a lot of maintenance. It doesn't need a lot of fixing, right? But when the car gets older and older, it needs a lot of maintenance. You got to keep up with it. Of course, when the car gets maybe 20 years, you're going to be dead anyway. So we all die when that age comes. But we can't delay the process. We can't delay the process of taking medication. I've done it, and anybody can do it. So the component of lifestyle choice. The first one is most people, think about is the physical exercise, just exercise, having a regular exercise. And the other part is the nutrition. And the big misunderstanding, I believe, is people think that if I exercise, I have the right to eat whatever I want to. But it's actually the other way around. It's more of nutrition. It's more of what you eat, as opposed to the exercise. It's about roughly it's about 25 to 75%. So who you are, the way how you shape yourself, it's more of what you eat. And people don't have, I don't have time for exercise. Okay, you don't have time for exercise. You don't have to work 5 times or 6 times a week. If you do 2 times a week, maybe 3 times, a little bit, 30 minutes, an hour. But if you are really watching what you eat, what kind of you eat, that's what makes a difference. And it's a little bit smaller step. It's going to build up together, and then you'll see the results in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. And that's possible. So me as a pharmacist, I would say nobody can be on a medication, of course, long-term medication, at the age of 40 or 45 or 50 or 55. Of course, once you get to 65, 70, just like the car, as the car gets older, it needs a lot of fixing, a lot of maintenance. That's fine, but at the early age, we can stop or delay the process. So to do that, we got to have some kind of motivation. What motivates me to do that? Okay, lifestyle choice, good, keep up with the food, keep up with the exercise. Why? Why do I do that? I got to have some purpose in my life. And for me, the motivation is my kids. I'm the father of 3 kids. I have a 12-year boy, 8-year daughter, and 6-year son. So they keep me going, Mm-hmm. My job is a very difficult job, I have to stand up for 10 hours, 12 hours a day. I have to stay in shape. And there is a physical demand. I have to run here and there. So if I don't keep up myself stay in shape, how I can make a better life for my kids?
Very true.
So every time I come home, when I see my kids running throughout the room, that gives me that extra energy to stay disciplined and stay in force. So every one of us who's listening to this podcast got to find a purpose in life. What motivates me? Why I do what I do? So, and everybody created differently, and everybody has their own source of motivation. But everybody has one motivation.
the thing that a couple of things that jump out to me when we talk about lifestyle, being an old football and track coach, the idea that you have to run 5 miles today and you're good for the next 5 months is one of the prevalent ones. People go to a workout, they decide they need to go, and they overdo it the first day, and the next day they're too sore to do anything else, and then it becomes, well, I'm still sore, and that ends the effort to get exercise. Tell us about what kind of progression in the range of exercise you would suggest to persons who are trying to find a reason to exercise?
That's a tricky part. As you said, work maybe 2 hours on a treadmill, and the next day the legs are so sore they can barely even walk. As I said, it's a very small but consistent behavior. But it's needed. You do it in a smaller incremental change, but you do it consistently over time. So when I started exercising maybe about 10, 12 years ago, I started walking because I barely support, my own body. So every time I run, my knee bothers me, my rib cage, especially when you run, especially when you begin losing weight around the gut area. Just fat and everything with the support for your body. When you start losing that gut area, I think there's something wrong with the ribs, and the ribs start hurting, your back starts hurting because the support is going that way. So I have to slow down a little bit, and then, but consistently, small increments over a period of time, not 2 weeks, not 3 months. It's a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That will get to the end result. Go ahead.
I concur with you completely. Someone who exercises 10 minutes a day at a moderate pace is 100% more likely to regain a level of fitness that they can live with than some guy who sits on the couch and drinks 2 to 10 Pepsis a day, eats chips, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
As one who has trained other people, I know that the main thing is to get a consistent practice of getting to the site to walk or lift weights or run or swim, and usually it takes you 2 weeks to develop habits of any kind, and it takes you 2 weeks to get away from that habit. Give us a learned perspective on developing the habit of exercising.
Yeah, developing the habit of exercising in addition to nutrition. Now, most people don't really pay attention to being consistent on the nutrition side. As you said, if you eat a bunch of chips and drink Pepsi Cola every day, that's not going to get you anywhere. So I want my audience to really pay attention to the nutrition side. Because everybody's talking about physical exercise, doing 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But people don't really pay attention to the nutrition part, which is even more important the physical exercise. So what consistency, where the consistency comes from is from having a result. You go to the gym, you exercise, you come home, you eat the right food. I'll talk about what kind of food. You do that a week, 2 weeks. When you see the first 1 or 2 drops of weight, that will help you to have consistency. Or when you have your waist size go from 40 to 39, you see it. Even sometimes you may not even lose weight. But when you are in shape and exercise and eat the right food, our body will reshape. The part of the body that is exercising will develop, and the part that's not exercising with the gut area will shrink. So even though the whole body weight stays the same, our body reshapes itself, and you see a little bit result. You see a little bit hope. That hope is the main. So to do that, as I told you got to be disciplined. And if you want to be disciplined, you got to have motivation. The why. Why I should be disciplined. Why I should not eat this food. Why I should avoid this food. Why should I exercise? As I told you, for me, my kids are my source of motivation. So let's talk about the food. And the people say about, stay away from fat, stay away. But for me, life is a moderation. There are some days that I really pay attention to what I eat. And there are some days I cheat. Because the vegetarian, food is good. We enjoy food. So, but I'm very consistent. When I'm staying in court, I'm very consistent. When I'm cheating, I'm also consistent. Probably I cheat once every 2 weeks. I'm very consistent. When I'm off, when the kids are home, when I'm not working on weekends, family members would come. And that's the case, I cheat a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. But on Monday, I stay back